Let's go. Let's go. I'm pretty hyped. Today, we're at the mining farm. Well, the mining farm to be. You hear that? Oh yeah, we got gravel in. And it's like, so what? Well, gravel is an integral part here of the mining farm I'm building because I need to be able to access the farm. It's being kind of distributed over a decently wide area, and that is also something that will ensure I don't have any delays with the install. Like, for example, electricity, which has been ordered. And if you follow the VoskCoin YouTube channel, you may wonder, Vosk, I thought you were doing solar power. We must first crawl before we walk, run, and dash, and do that crazy shield grab thing in Super Smash Brothers. So today I want to run through just an update on my mining farm build, what I'm doing, what I've done, what's next, and really just break this down and elaborate on some details if this is something you've thought about doing in any capacity, because my goal here with this mining farm build is one, to just do it right up front, right? This is really the third mining farm I've built for myself. My mining farm went from a big business to me at the time to then basically a hobby style setup, as several different mining farm build plans had completely fallen through, to now the biggest and most intense project I've ever done in my entire life. This video is brought to you by this hawk up here, because there are so many hawks out here. Definitely not a good place to be a bunny. So as you can see behind me, I've got all the gravel in, and basically I put a big pad right here with an access right there and also an access right there, which will also double as your boy's personal temporary shooting range for now. But I'm pretty excited to just be able to, you know, train on firearms and peace. But anyway, that's a bit of an aside, right? So with this big pad right here, it leaves me room for expansion, it leaves me room for other things, and it gives me more flexibility and more options. Yes, a bigger upfront cost, but now, for example, when I order electricity, he was telling me this, that about, well, you know, if it's mud, like when I saw it last time out there, then, you know, that may delay us because, you know, we can't go out there and get stuck. And I'm like, no, we have gravel. Always be able to access this, whether that's a contractor or that's me bringing another miner out here to deploy it, right? And you can have like an off-road vehicle and tear it up and all that, whatever. But that's not really an ideal scenario. This is very serious. This is, you know, uptime is of the utmost importance here. So yeah, I have, hopefully, I mean, it's not 100%, but it really should be by now, but trying to get it completely ironed out. Another mining farm building here on the way, and that is going to be based out of a sea container, a shipping container. It's going to be a custom built pod for mining. And so what I'm going to do with that is I'm just going to drop it right here, right? I'm just going to drop it right here, and I'm going to keep the airflow situation pretty simple here. Intake on this side, outtake on that side, which blows the noise away from me and, you know, gives me a simple setup. I may just dump, you know, another like shipping container over here and not really deploy it to be a mining farm. What I would be doing in that case would possibly just be additional storage or whatever else. In addition to the actual mining infrastructure here, I need panels, right? I need meters, and this shed and the shipping container mining farm specifically, they're just gonna be placed on gravel, as they should be, because why would I waste time and money on concrete? But my electricity company says that that means it's a temporary structure. And I'm like, no, this is serious as hell. This is permanent. And they're like, yeah, I get it. Well, technically it's temporary per our code and whatever. So I have to build a standalone meter base. And I could use wood and it would be cheaper that way, but wood does not last forever. Neither will I, but I hope that I outlast a 4x4. So I'm going to use galvanized steel to build a basic, meter pole here. And from there, I'll be able to pull all the wiring, get the inspection and everything else I need to do, because my electric company will not turn the juice on without an inspection, regardless of this being a farm, the acreage and all that stuff. So, the gravel ended up being very expensive. And this really ended up being about $20,000 in rocks and labor, which is insane. But that's really the status of the current market. And I mean, there are different ways to do this. That's true. And there was a cheaper way to go about this. That's true. But the fact remains is that this is a permanent build out for me. I want to do it once. I want to do it right. And, I do have to be careful because I am just not bottomless pockets here. But I do not want to, cheap out on something that I could swing right now. But on the flip side, you're like, man, that's at least 4 of the almost latest gen Bitcoin miners, brand new, delivered. And I'm like, yeah, like you're right. I mean, I really, in a way, I sacrificed almost 500 terahash a second on Bitcoin to be able to get basically gravel driveways and 24/7 access to this stuff. So building on raw land, you think it's so cool, it's so exciting, and you just have this canvas, and that's kind of true, but what you really have are a lot of expenses. There's nothing to reuse, there's nothing to repurpose, there are just no benefits other than nothing being here. So, that's definitely a pro and a con. So it is really fun to make something your own and to have that canvas, but you certainly pay a premium in order to do that. In retrospect, I would have found something that had more to work with. I really would have. I would rather remodel a house than build a house. I would rather repurpose existing external structures, renovate them, update them, than build new ones, especially in our current era where most materials are at all-time highs. But please don't take that as me giving up or whatever else. Not the case. We're gonna keep plugging and chugging. We're gonna keep pushing forward and just do the best I can here. Electricity is looking like, just for these buildings, to get everything set up, pull the wires, all that, it's going to be another $10,000 expense, which is just really insane. And it's just, everything is more than you expect it to be, especially, I don't want to sound redundant, but in this era. I've done a lot of these things before, not to this level, not to this magnitude, no, but I did not deal with material prices that are up 200%. Who knew we should have invested in copper? Okay, forget crypto and coins and Bitcoin and altcoins. We should have invested in copper and lumber, my friends. Obviously, I'm kind of joking, but also not at the same time. As it stands, my focus is electricity. Number one, turn the lights on. Okay, I already have internet accounted for. We're going to deploy initially here with Starlink, but that's not enough for me long term. What I want long term is going to be hardwired internet in addition to a Starlink option. Cellular options, I'm going to look at some alternatives there, but I get very poor cell service here, and so does everyone else. So I'm not too, bullish on a cellular option, considering that cell phones aren't doing all that great. I'm really excited to get to the HQ building, which is up to the side of me here. This isn't going to be the mining farm. This is going to be everything else, from testing miners to maintenance to working on some content here on the VoskCoin YouTube channel, a warehouse. I mean, every miner comes with a box, and these boxes are simple. They have cut foam, and if you ever want to sell stuff, you got to keep it, because it's going to be such a hassle to repack this stuff. You'll never pack it as well as it comes, because they just use a simple, effective foam packing system. The good news though, just to save on some cost, is I'm pulling electricity to this building. At the same time, I'm pulling it to the farm. So lights will go on across the board here, which will give us internet access, among many other opportunities there. As you saw as I was walking around the shed over there, is that it's not done. There's no vents cut in, there's no prep work. It's just there and it exists, and it has all the supporting gravel in the area. So that is definitely on my immediate to-do list, and I'm still kind of doing my final reviews on exactly what I want to do and how I want to do that. If you have any sort of advice, input, lessons learned, whatever, I don't think I know anything by far. I would love to hear from you on VoskCoin Talk, our forum, because our comments get drowned by spam and scams down here on YouTube, and YouTube still does not give us the appropriate tools to deal with that. So using our forum has been a much better medium just for long-term discussions and things like that. Obviously we have our Discord server too, with over 40,000 incredible miners in there. But you know, I still, maybe I'm old school, right? I just kind of enjoy the forum life. So, you know, that's really the next step though for me. Got gravel down, pulling electricity, all of the balls are rolling with my electric company. I just have to get the meter bases basically set up and installed and inspected here by the county. And once that takes place, then I'm gonna get on the books with my electric company, and we have the plan, we have everything set, and as soon as they're available to do that, that will happen. And from there, we got juice, baby, and we're gonna turn it on, we're gonna hash it up. But it's also a ticking, I don't want to say ticking time bomb, but it's a race for me against the clock, because I need to ensure that I have a mining farm that is ready to deploy miners when I have this electricity here. Electricity has been the bigger and longer battle, but these other things do take time. Cutting in these vents, finishing the design, putting basically a false wall in there, and then putting doors in. The way I'm thinking about accessing it, to put it shortly. I talked about that more in my mining shed design video. Don't want to be redundant for all of you awesome people who watch all the content. If this is one of your first, or you've only watched a couple videos on the channel, I'm going to go ahead and drop a playlist down in the comments below that just kind of break down, in a way they're like episodes, I guess. I've trying to been documenting every step of the way with this mining farm build and journey. There's a lot of lessons learned, and a couple missteps could cost you just a ton of money. And that's, I mean, that's terrible. That sucks. So, I mean, there's even just uncertainty in the mining ecosystem right now, as you know, this Ethereum 2.0, proof of stake, and how that is just set, and the thrashing and crashing of obviously Ethereum ASIC miners, but even more so would be GPUs, graphics cards, and their mining profitability. So I'd love to see some more cryptocurrencies really step up and you know, gain popularity, gain market cap, and thus their 24-hour issuance, you know, they're skyrocketing in there, which just leads to increased mining profitability. One of the reasons why Bitcoin is so amazing is the simple fact that it is mineable. It has always been mineable, and it will continue to be a mineable cryptocurrency. And couple that with its age and just like that grassroots widespread distribution of their coins, well, that's one of the main reasons why they can't say it's a security. So as always, time will tell. This is basically the latest update here. We got rocks down, we got electric on the schedule in more ways than one. We're gonna get a little home defense training in here as well, among just other just, you know, just fun things that, you know, as the market has slowed down a little bit, I want to take a deep breath personally, you know, continue pushing forward, because above all, it's so imperative I get my idle gear online, because I have more mining hardware than I can deploy at my home mining farm. And that's just money sitting there, depreciating, wasting away. The best time to mine, the best time to start, it's always now. It's never tomorrow. No one's like, oh yeah, you should probably mine next year. You know, you're like, wow, I wish I was mining 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever. You know, obviously there's markets and there's cycles, and Bitcoin miner prices are down significantly compared to a year ago. So in a way, getting into mining now versus a year ago is actually a win, even though the price of Bitcoin is down. If you are mining a Bitcoin that's half as valuable with a miner that you paid half as much for, And then on that horizon, you're dreaming, you're seeing, you're envisioning that new all-time high. You're actually set up to win better than if you bought an expensive miner and things really came crashing down. It's a little hard, you know, to wrap your head around, as we're just little human beings, as they say on TikTok. But yeah, that's the status, that's the situation. Full steam ahead on this stuff. And once I get this stuff kind of synced up, turned on, hashing away, my next #1 objective is going to be just to get a hardwired internet access in here, because you have to fight with these companies to just get them to rob you, because they want a ridiculous amount of money. They're talking like $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 to pull a cable out here and then bill me every month for the rest of my life. What a wonderful deal. Thank you so much. Wow, it's insane. You build their infrastructure and then they bill you indefinitely. I don't even get discounted service, man. At that point, aren't I an investor in your cable company? They say no. So just trying to have fun, push forward. After I get all of this stuff situated, then I'm going to become fixated on powering this with solar, installing solar panels, everything like that. But as it stands, I need to get my current gear deployed. I need to get the basics kind of set in place. And then after that point, I can really start to think of a more grander vision, dream, and just the deployment, the installation of enough solar panels to truly power in my opinion, you know, a medium-sized mining farm. So, hey, we'll see. I'll keep pushing forward till I'm dead. As always, I hope you do as well. My name is Vosk here on the VoskCoin YouTube channel. I'm really just an employee here as I work for the CMO, the Chief Mining Officer, who also has another title, the CCO, the Chief Cutie Officer. That's going to be the furriest and the fluffiest. Tails. I hope you enjoy it. 10 seconds of tails or more. We do it here every video on the VoskCoin YouTube channel, unless we forget, mess up, which is a terrible shame, and just will plunge us into the catacombs of the underworld, or I don't know, something terrible and dramatic. That's all I got. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.